Good evening, Vicksburg. Welcome to tonight's March 7th in-person Village Council regular session. I'll call this meeting to order. It is 7:01. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll take a moment of silence here and then we'll do roll call. Mr. Mallard?
Roll call for the Village of Vicksburg Village Council meeting of March 7th, 2022. Trustee Merrill. Here. Trustee Wagner.
Here.
Trustee Reister.
Here.
Trustee Olson.
Here.
President Pro Temp Keller.
Here.
President Frisbee.
Here.
Trustee Holmes is excused on a business trip.
We have an agenda in front of us tonight. Is there any changes by staff, Jim?
Just one addition in correspondence. Just a little bit ago, just prior to the meeting, we received correspondence from Mr. John Steers in which he'd like it to be part of the record, which we will put that correspondence as part of the record, which will come with the packet of minutes at the next meeting.
Thank you.
So
we have an agenda in front of us. Any council trustees have any additions or questions about it? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Trustee Wagner, I move to approve the agenda as submit.
And Julie Merrill supporting.
Trustee Wagner's motion to approve tonight's agenda, support by Trustee Merrill. We'll do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have an agenda. We have no scheduled appearances. Do we have any public officials on the line, Mr. Miller?
take a quick look, and no.
Just a quick note about that, just to reemphasize the fact that we're doing a hybrid meeting here, an in-person meeting, and that you're more than welcome to attend. We do have mask and hand wash and as needed, and if you want to attend virtually, you can just go to the vicksburgmi.org webpage, and at the bottom right-hand corner, you can open it up and access the YouTube meeting and or call in remotely. We are up to citizens' comments. This is for the agenda items only tonight. If there's any citizens that'd like to make a comment, or please, this is the time to do it. We'll give people a minute online to see if there's any comments.
We have no one on the LinkedIn other than the panelist on Zoom. There are 5 on YouTube, so we'd remind citizens on the Zoom webinar link that are within the agenda and posted on the website would be where remote citizen comments can be made
Right.
from. So
I'll do a better job of that next time, just before we kick off, just advising everybody. But if there is anybody there that wants to speak at a later time for the non-agenda items, as Mr. Mallory said, there's also a link for the Zoom meeting and on the village webpage. You can access it and dial in or go through your computer direct. Well, hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the general consent agenda. We have the minutes of our regular session meeting from February 21st. Warrant reports total of $482,586.91. We have event rental requests, Brianna Trimble's grad party, Vicksburg Little League Parade for April 30th, and Cook's wedding shower for July 31st. And of course, the correspondence we'll put into it. Anyone had any corrections or comments on it? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Trustee Keller, so moved.
Trustee Wagner, I support.
Motion by trustee Keller, support by trustee Wagner. We'll have a roll call, please.
Roll call vote with President Pro Tem Keller making the motion, seconded by trustee Wagner. Trustee Olson.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Merrill.
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. That moves us to village council action items. And, two items in front of us tonight, second quarter budget amendments and engineering services letter for the 2022 calendar year, and we'll let Mr. Mallory run with this.
As you can see, we this year, a little bit different than past years because of the amount of within the fiscal year opportunities that the village has had after the original budget was set. So tonight we're putting 9 items to be amended within the budget, and then we're still going through on a line item basis to ensure we have the numbers debited from the accounts that we intend to have. So this will get us up through January 30th, and I anticipate doing this again, April 18th, and then probably the first meeting in June, and then of course the last meeting as well, to keep us on track. But I've provided this to the village with the 9 items, being the DPW building, storm drain system, the Village Hall feasibility study, the fire suppression, that sustainability grant program, non-motorized trail that we put in from CB McDonald Way to the golf course. The Paving the Way to Sustainability grant was the phenomenal amount of money the foundation provided that we could for businesses impacted by the infrastructure. Roswell Park's renovation and the purchase of industrial zone property, Angels Crossing equipment, downtown furniture, the authorization there, both at the DDA board and the council level. I put the amounts of money as well as the accounts they would be debited to with the corresponding revenue. So if it's okay with the council, I'll pause for any questions, or we can go through each one. All of these items have been in front of the appropriate governmental boards with prior approval. It's now just making sure that we get the appropriate amendment to have that made within the budget.
Yeah, you can just run right through it real quick, Jim. As you said, we've all had prior approval and prior knowledge of this. So.
Okay. The first one, again, is the DPW building storm drain system. It's an amount of $50,249.89. It will be debited out of the documented DPW account, which is a capital item, and the corresponding revenue is in a DPW. That revenue will be from the 21-22 general fund tax revenue. The second item is the Village Hall feasibility study, an amount of $17,600. Debited again from a capital account in the general fund 101 fund. And the revenue was already budgeted, as we have carry forward money we're using as part of the Village Hall money that's been saved. So that's been saved in prior years and carried forward. The fire suppression grant program is a use of DDA money, so it will be a DDA debited expense from the listed account, not to exceed $60,000. And we will, next week, update the Planning Commission and DDA Board what the total amount of money in that program produced, as they have a subcommittee looking at their grant programs out of the DDA, whether to initiate here within this fiscal year or to look at what other options might be for the 22-23 fiscal year. Number 4 is the non-motorized trail that we asphalted from CB McDonald Way's entrance way through the covered bridge by the driving range at Angels Crossing. It's an amount of $61,000. That we have approval is non-village tax money. It was state money that we were able to utilize to pay for that project. The Paving the Way to Sustainability grant was, again, from the Vicksburg Foundation, an amount of $56,000 that we were able to create grant opportunities for 21 businesses that were impacted by the infrastructure project. The Roswell Park renovation at $250,000 is, again, non-general fund tax revenue. It was fundraised money from this community, as well as a $50,000 matching grant from the state of Michigan's MEDC Patronicity program, and an additional $50,000 from the Vicksburg Foundation. The purchase of the industrial zone property at an amount of $77,000. That, again, is a capital item and debited out of the general fund, and would come out of the fiscal year's tax revenue. There's no reason to use carry forward money. We're very confident that the expenditures will be well under the revenues this year, and we can do that within a fiscal year. The Angel Crossing equipment is all for the maintenance area and the upkeep of the golf course. There were 2 different actions at the council level. One involved $171,500 for multiple pieces of equipment, and then $28,014.05 for the 50 horsepower tractor that are Angels Crossing historical revenue accounts. So again, not using tax money from the village. And then the 9th and final item is the approval that went through the Downtown Authority Board, as well as the Village Council, for an amount not to exceed $9,000.
I know we've all seen this before, but are there any questions while we're on it? Any comments for the staff?
I just had one question. Sorry. I just had a question about the downtown furniture and the 9,000. I know that's for tables and chairs, correct?
Correct. It's a
Okay.
combined table, chair, single piece of furniture. So it's a table with either 6 chairs, kind of like Liberty Lane East has, and then 2 of the tables will only have 5 chairs because they're ADA compliant, that would allow a wheelchair to fit in.
Okay. So in the future, there's consideration for those handicap rampy spots that we might modify
Yeah, but
someday?
it's not, no, we're gonna,
Someday.
we're not gonna, I wouldn't describe it as modifying. You're talking on Main Street, the
Yeah.
4 areas we've talked about that dip down. What we're actually looking is at ways to create people wanting to be in that area, actually. So Alex has worked with the Residency Arts program, as well as the Cultural Arts Center, looking at different options to put what would be, I'll call them, all of them equal, like 4 separate designed hanging. Trying to think, 4 flutes, and Zach Bishop is looking at different ways to design it. So it basically, for a lack of a term I can think of right now, I would call it a fence that is see-through, but it would have tubes that come up and can hold different pieces of art. But basically, it will create a natural barrier so people can't walk through that area, but yet it would be an attraction point that could be changed multiple times throughout a year. So that's what we're looking, but furniture would not fit. We looked at both the 4-foot benches, 6-foot benches, had the salesperson come to downtown, measure it up. And when I say it wouldn't fit by look, and in 2 of the areas by design because of the way the parking would be. So that's why we return to these alternatives for a solution in drawing people's attention.
I was just gonna say,
You just turned it on.
in the meanwhile, can we do something that, I know that, like, we're almost done with the snow bobcat things happening, but I just saw some, people who keep tripping, and I think we need to put something even temporarily in those places.
Yeah, we
so
certainly
that they're
can.
away.
If I
Just
thought,
something temporary,
and
even,
if the barrels aren't still there, we'll have them
They're
be
not there.
returned.
okay,
I don't know who
I just-
had them removed, but they'll be returned.
it'd just be a good idea.
Yeah,
Okay,
that could create.
thanks.
Randy's on the call, and tomorrow morning they'll be
Randy?
back.
Hi, Randy.
Note it down.
Is he smiling?
I don't know if this is the time. It really doesn't. Oh, Randy, yes.
How you doing, Dan?
Good afternoon, sir. We were just talking about the barrels maybe got moved, so Jim will talk to you in the morning about it.
Right, okay.
This is not anything directly related to this, other than I have a question about the industrial property, just some of the processes that may be coming in front of us, some expenditures down the road. Do we need people in their first businesses to approach us before we really start to look at the development aspect of the property, or do we start looking ahead in like sewer infrastructure in some of this areas?
No, we've already analyzed, because of the property that the village owned off of Spruce Street prior, which will connect to this additional property. So that was calculated in with the improvements that were made along Spruce Street, as well as the calculations to the Spruce Street lift station and eventually Sprinkle Road. So it's something that we're aware of in keeping our radar out on for the development of that. Of course, we'd entertain any developer that
Right.
wanted to come, but right now, to develop that area, it would have to be a pretty sizable grant opportunity. And I think with other needs in the village, most of that available grant money, which they just came out with 3 weeks ago, it's another, I think, 23 different programs. I don't know if that would fit for that area. We will have some expenses above the $77,000, like to survey it, to get it, to change the parcels, because we're dividing parcels up and recreating boundaries. That survey has been completed, and then we'll be finalizing that purchase agreement, hopefully here in the next 30 to 45 days after that process through the parcels is all complete.
That's part of led up to me. Any developers out there, we're open for business. Please reach out to Village Manager Mallory, and the village will wholeheartedly entertain the opportunities to work with other businesses. So
Yeah, we have a excellent, just shy of 7-acre lot in our industrial park as well that's all ready if someone would like to develop it.
there you go. Thank you. Anything else for Mr. Mallory while we have him? No, so we've approved the expenditures. Now we're just looking at approving the different funding budget accounts, then moving the money to the appropriate account. So what is the council's desire on this?
Trustee Wagner, I move to support and approve the second quarter 2021-2022 fiscal year budget amendments as presented.
Reister, support.
Trustee Wagner motions for approval, and trustee Reister seconded. We'll do a roll call.
Roll call vote, trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Keller,
Yes.
trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Merrill,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. Motion carries. Leads us to village manager report.
No. The engineering.
Oh,
services.
engineering, I crossed it off too quick. Engineering services letter.
Yes, this is a standard letter we do each year for a professional service agreement with Prine Newhoff, who's been the village's engineer since, I think, about the 2008 through 10 time period is when they started, but quite a while. It's a standard agreement. And there, it's interesting as the fee schedule's on the back, but some recent stuff we use Prine Newhoff for is when we have to re-add. We've had a couple purchases in the village that people have made that required new addresses to be created. So very simple to use them for that services, as well as surveying. We had to survey the DPW property, this property we just mentioned about the purchase of the yard. So those are some most recent services here in the last 6 or 7 weeks that we've used. Not to mention the technical expertise they bring on the infrastructure project.
And so this is an hourly rate as needed. So we're locking into the terms and conditions in a set hourly rate.
Correct.
And Jim, this isn't necessarily a contract exclusive to Prine Newhoff. If we needed to use a different firm for, say, a special project or other items, we could still, entertain those services. We're not being held exclusive to Prine Newhoff.
Correct. We could put an RFP out for engineering services and have on a standalone project, let's say. We did that on a non-motorized trail north of TU Avenue.
Hey, Jim, what's the term limits on this agreement? Is
It's
it
done annually every year,
Yep, is it?
January through December.
Okay, calendar year, okay.
Yep.
Anyone have any further questions, or? Well, staff is asking that we approve the engineering services letter of engagement for 2022 fiscal year. What is the desire of the council?
Trustee Keller, move to approve.
Reister, support.
Motion by Keller, support by Reister. We'll do a roll call, please, or, yes, roll call.
A roll call is trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Merrill,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. Motion carries. Now we're on to the village manager report.
Yes, we, as you see, the construction project updates, the infrastructure has begun here March 1st, starting at the Washington, Michigan Street intersections, which will continue that sewer interceptor down to the Washington Street lift station, as well as some water main work on Mill Street, and it's either 14 or 15 residents there. Will ensure if they need to be changed over, updated from the lead services into the house, we've authorized that work as well, since we're going to be tearing up that street and digging it up. And the anticipation is a completion within 8 weeks. The contract has a firm completion date, though, of May 27th. We're back meeting every Tuesday with the contractor and engineer firm, as well as our staff, Tuesdays at 10 doing walkthroughs. And we're now in the process of creating the final punch ticket items to ensure, like, as we enter this spring at the appropriate time, the hydro seed that needs to be redone is done, and what needs to be completed, even on the project out on 22nd Street, is completed, and so that'll be done as we move forward.
I do have one question. So the people on Washington Street are also getting new lead lines into their home?
No, there's
No.
not a water, that's not a water service, and I don't, that's sewer. And I do not believe, and I'll find out for sure tomorrow, it was not brought up, the homes west of Michigan Avenue on Washington. There was a need for that, but I'll confirm it tomorrow at tomorrow's 10 o'clock meeting.
Okay, because if we're tearing everything up, this would be the time to do it.
Yeah, the engineers know that. They brought the Mill Street to my attention, and then
Okay.
there's a financial component because it's not paid with USDA loan, so it's still determining, do we have the balance to do this? It's in the project, it's a little less expensive because of the quantity that we're doing. But again, it's not budgeted within the project money, and we've probably expended, on a round number, 160, 175,000 on updating homes with that. You're exactly right. If we're going to be tearing up the road, let's do it right. One of the big impacts on the budget that we did not plan was all of East Prairie Street to not be hooked up,
Yeah,
but we took care of that issue as well.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
That's an issue that's facing all the municipalities because of the state mandated lead line. The state is coming behind with plans and hopefully some funding to help support it. But at this point in time, we have to do what's right for the community. And as you say, we got it dug up. We need to take care of it. So,
And we put in for some of the Corona's money that came out of the federal government, and received our first, again, I'll use round numbers, 180-some thousand dollars, and we will probably, before December, receive the second half. So just shy of $400,000 that we can use on lead line on our infrastructure as well from the federal government. But we're certainly analyzing this last round of grant opportunities, and we'll put in for each one that we can. And we're very hopeful we'll have a pretty positive announcement here in the next 60 days or so on some grants that we have put in for. So,
thank you.
on the pole barn, there's just a coordination right now, and it's going on between Fredericks and the firm that's putting up the pole barn. The next real big item there will be the cement floor going in, and we're just waiting for the ground to be ready and to coordinate it with Frederick putting in the storm system. But that's all been designed all through environmentals and everything, so we're just waiting on weather on that. Contractor has been told that we expect a firm completion date of April 15th, which he doesn't foresee as a problem. And the last item, at least on construction, is Roswell Park. You probably saw the construction fence go up, and some small stuff are being prepped there, but which is nice, and one of the benefits already of utilizing Frederick's Construction because once the excavator comes for the park, it'll be at the same time, because it'll be the same excavator doing the park as well as the storm water system at DPW. So the organization type charges and that could be minimized. So, but that it has a completion of May 27th.
Thank you, Jim. Any other questions for Mr. Mallory? Hearing none, that moves us on to committee reports. Planning Commission, DDA, Mr. Holmes is out. We'll get an update from him next time. The South County Fire Authority, with a quick update on that.
Well, both President Frisbee and I attended the meeting. They passed the budget for the fire authority, so that's in place. That was kind of the big take out of the meeting that night, was they did pass the budget. So for the next fiscal year, they'll be good to go. They did adopt the purchasing policy that was recommended to them, so they're moving forward with that.
Was there a sewer meeting?
There was a sewer meeting a couple weeks ago. Basically, the Barton Lake project is moving forward. I think they have 54% of the residents in the area of that area are interested in pursuing the sewer project, which is their project. It's obviously not our project. But South County Sewer and Water will take overseeing of it once if it comes to pass, so to speak. The development north of here on Sprinkle, that's moving forward. I think you can see the curbing is going in there, so they're getting finalization on engineering for infrastructure being put in there. And then there's a mobile home terrace park that's off of Shaver Road. They have gone ahead and they're connecting up sewer through the authority, which is going to go in through Portage, but was informed that they're also inquiring about getting water hooked up out there. And the gentleman who owns the park is paying for this all out of his pocket. And Village of Schoolcraft is, I think I mentioned in the last meeting, they're looking into possible infrastructure upgrades, just a study. So that's where they're at with that. So,
Thank you, sir. The tree committee.
Yes, we did meet today, and Lloyd Appel has really been helping us out a great deal. And we want to do kind of a slogan. Thank you for turning me on. Good job, Tim. And we'd like to do a slogan like Plant Vicksburg or something like that. And we did do a walkthrough of almost the entire village, of places where trees were needed, places where things had to be taken down. And we came up with, we could use spaces for ornamental trees, 283. And for spaces for larger trees, 333. So there's a need for quite a few trees in our village. A lot of them have gone down. There's also a need for some stumps to be taken out, old trees that are, I was just, Denise just told me about a tree up by a Main Street pub that apparently is dead and wasn't taken out. So when we probably did see that when we were walking, but we do have, we would like to, I'd like to go in and maybe talk with Jim a little bit about what we've talked about. We don't really need to talk about it here tonight, but we have some ideas, but we need to also have some direction from you. So, but we've got a good start.
Had you considered reaching out to Consumers Power in that grant?
Not yet. Well, that is one thing that we, have talked about. Really, I think what we're trying to do is to figure out, we've got to figure out funding, we've got to figure out, how that's going to go. We have to figure out who are we going to choose in order to get trees from, like, are we going to use local people? That's that kind of thing that I need to talk to Jim about. These are all the kinds of things that we have talked about. We want the village, certain things that we would like to see the village help us with, and then things that the residents would do. If we put a tree in their yard, we need to have them take care of it. And so we've talked about vouchers maybe for these people on their water bills so that they would be willing to water it, and keep it alive. So we have a lot of ideas, but I really feel like I need to talk to the village manager.
I would ask that you look at it and prioritize, look over a 5-year window, prioritize A, B, and C. What makes the greatest impact for the dollar in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and put together a progression plan like that. So then we can look at, okay, year 1, these are all the A trees, it's gonna be X amount of dollars. And can we approach Consumers Power to help us with a grant? We're gonna have to look outside first before we start going to the taxpayers for it, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, President Frisbee, it's going to be AEP is a utility.
Yeah, we can't use consumer because we have, it's AEP.
Yeah, but we have Consumers Gas. And
Yeah.
even the gas part of it,
I don't know if they would,
I believe, I sent you a link.
Yeah,
You and-
I've got it.
That
Yeah.
was,
I've got it,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple other avenues. One thing,
That's
if
fine.
trustee Reeser would like, just send me, if you give me a little bit of notice on when you meet next, and I'll be happy to attend the meeting and answer everyone's questions.
Excellent.
Because it will also assist in prepping the 22-23 budget. As an example, if you wanted to go and probably could Google search it, the city of Port Huron just did an interesting program where they committed, and of course it's a much larger city, but what resulted there was the goal of planting 1,000, I think it's 1,000 trees a year for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and we've talked about things like that
Yeah.
too, and then also staggering, so, so that we don't plant all the trees at once because then they'll all die at the same time. So, we're trying to figure out how to do this so that we'll have a maintenance kind of thing
Yeah, I'll be
going
happy
on.
to attend the next meeting
Good.
and bring
Thank you.
that information.
I think that would be really, really helpful.
thank you, Jim. Julie, was there Parks and Rec update?
Sure. We had a meeting February 28th, and lots of discussions and updates on the village. And what came out of it is we have 2 openings coming up for the Parks and Rec Committee. Jenny Holmes is coming off, and Rob Peterson is coming on. Oh. She's not, okay. So we have 1 opening, and so we generally meet the 3rd Monday of the month, and I can't remember what we decided because it's spring break this month, so so check the village website.
Yeah, they moved the meeting, it's the 4th Monday, and they moved it to a Wednesday night, I believe, but it'll be updated on the website. I think it's the 23rd, March. They moved it to Wednesday, the 23rd.
Okay.
And I failed to make a change to the agenda, but if you would entertain me, I'll update you on cats. I had a really nice introduction by Township Supervisor Don Ellis. So Don, if you're listening, thank you very much for that. Cats had their audit. There was no comments. Our favorite people, Steve Ryer with Manor Custarian was the auditing firm. March 1st, I'm a little late, but the frost-free restrictions were put into place. And I have a complete list, and I asked them how they developed this. So they basically, as we were doing A, B, and C, prioritize the needs of the streets. Then they put those in a spreadsheet, and they run through them and approve them until they run out of money. So I have a complete list of all of the roads in the county that CATS is involved with that are going to be addressed in the upcoming construction. So if anybody would like to see a copy of that, please reach out to me via email at tfrisbee@vicksburgmi.org. I'd be happy to share that with you, as any of the council members also.
I would like
All right.
to see it.
And that was it for the committees. So this time for citizens' comments. If we have anybody on the call or in the audience that would like to comment on non-agenda items, this is the time to do so.
There is not anyone on the hybrid section of it.
Hearing none, we'll move on to trustees' time. Trustee Olson.
I'm good.
Trustee Wagner.
All set tonight. Thank you, Tim.
Trustee Merrill.
Oh, okay. I think this week, on the 10th is Food Truck Thursday, 5 to 7:30. So streets are going to get, the main street, just the block of the main street will be closed so that the food trucks can set up around 4:30.
Trustee Reister.
I'm all set, thank you.
President Pro Tem Keller.
I just want to say that I do appreciate what the tree committee is doing. When we moved to Vicksburg 31 years ago on East Prairie, the one thing that drew us was the tree-lined streets. In the summertime, basically, it was like a canopy, and that's been gone now for probably 12 years. So I look forward to seeing what the tree committee comes up with, so.
Thank you.
Indeed. I've noticed that too in Kalamazoo. Some of the residential areas up in Millwood, there's every open spot's got a brand new tree planted, so they must have been busy either in the fall or over the winter. So obviously we're not the only ones that enjoy good tree shade and enjoy the beauty of the tree-lined streets. So keep up the good work. With that, that's it from me. So would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Trustee Wagner will make that motion.
Motion by Wagner.
Merrill supporting.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned.